All right, you guys, sorry we'll work this out. We will start in just a second here.
We'll be seasoned vets at this in 1 week.
Or by June.
By 2020 for sure.
What we said.
By June 2020.
All right.
We're going to make this our 2020 New Year's resolution.
Wow, this is such an awesome start to the show. Matt and I were working on this for a couple hours, probably about an hour yesterday. All right. That part is set. Let us get this show started.
On the road.
Are you recording yet?
All right, kids, we are recording. Hi, and welcome to the Dialed Podcast. I'm Jake Von During, and today I am proudly hosting Dialed Podcast number 45. And the reason why I say that is because today is the first time we are streaming live.
Streaming
YouTube.
All right, and as per usual, today I'm here with Lance Epler.
Lance Romance in studio.
I was not sure if you were going to be in studio or not. Well, I mean, I think I saw like Instagram and it was like snow pictures. And then we were racing here because we were late. Evan and I were late, sorry.
As we got coffee, but we raced to get the coffee, so don't worry.
Yeah. And I was like, I don't know. I'm not even sure if Lance is even going to be there.
Yeah.
In studio.
I'm in studio.
Always nice to have
Visually in studio now.
And to Lance's right, Evan Price.
How's it going? I
Good.
can actually see everybody now. Look at
Say hi,
that.
people.
Hello, people.
Turn to them and ask them. Yeah.
How's it going, guys?
All right. And to Evan's right, Matt LeGrand.
you. What's up, ladies and gentlemen
Of YouTube.
of the streaming internet? Good to see your beautiful shining faces. Yep.
All right. So thank you for everybody who is watching us live. There's not like a huge, tremendous amount of you, but there's a fair enough amount on there. I'm kind of surprised. It's kind of nice. So we're going to try and make this somewhat interactive for the folks that decided to jump on and listen to that or watch us live today. So feel free to ask some questions and make some comments and make fun of us and all that fun stuff. That'd be fun. If you're listening to this later on our normal podcast, join us next week if you get a chance. And if you want to come watch the video, it is on our YouTube channel, the Dialed Podcast, or just Dialed Podcast. Look us up, follow us, like us, all that other fun stuff. So that said, let's move on to our back pedal. Matt, back pedal for us, buddy.
Okay, so I'll start with weight challenge, which is we all weighed in, which I think is important part of the back pedal.
Yep. Yes.
My weight challenge is not going great so far.
Yes.
I came in.
I'm so worried about Matt.
You should be because I'm extreme. I will starve myself as I'm chomping on a
the
scone
last
here.
week is when people should be scared of Matt. Like 5 days out.
But there's no time limit to this, so I just need to start starving myself now. Get my 10 pounds and then go on and hit
Real
the,
quick,
hit
if
the
I can
buffet.
say one quick thing.
Yep.
Last week, I saw your little sneaky move. Over there, you forgot something. It's on the bench over there.
Oh.
You forgot there's a couple beers left over there. But make sure you take those home. And
He's
then
trying to leave
drink
those
them.
for Jake. That was very passive aggressive.
I think I took one beer home and it's still sitting in the fridge.
There's
so.
4 more over there for you, so those will go home with you today.
You should give them to whoever you think is the most dangerous.
Okay, take them, Matt.
I'm thinking Jake could be the most dangerous.
I think so. I think so.
And then, I don't know. So weight challenge not going super great. I don't think I probably lost a pound or two. But yeah, I'll push hard here next little bit. I will win this thing. But we do need to have like some sort of. I still feel like we need some sort of like, I don't know, trophy or prize or something.
How about a lot of beer?
It could be beer.
It could
No,
be.
Wait a second.
Yep,
it
Does
could
that
be
mean
big.
I'm out of it?
A lot of sparkling water. A lot of sparkling
Right.
water.
I think it should be sparkling water.
You should take sparkling water on that because the dollar for dollar conversion, you're going to get like 3 cases or
That's
3
right.
pallets of
Maybe
that
I should.
Kirkland sparkling
This is
water.
true.
I think it should be sparkling water, and I think we should have it, whoever wins, it should just stay in Jake's fridge, and we should break them out, pound them out, for whichever next podcast rolls around, and
There you go.
work our way through them. Okay, real back pedal for you. I've been swimming a good bit,
He's swimming well.
and I got to swim with Mr. Evan Price this morning.
Oh, wow.
It was
Like an hour ago.
It was pretty crazy. We did some cool stuff. We did one of my favorite parts was like this little bit that we actually put 3 guys in a lane and just roughed each other up a little bit. That sounded a little weird, but it was kind of super triathlon-y. And I have been running some. I ran with Mr. Evan Price on Saturday, and he did track workout, and I supervised. So
He's really good at supervising.
yeah. I mean,
He ran too.
I briefly ran, like kind of like the last lap of your mile or whatever it was, like a couple of things, just a little bit of running, and then was still able to do my long run yesterday. And so, yeah, running well, swimming well, but this is a biking podcast.
How much biking did you do last week?
I have to look and see, but it was like not good. Like maybe I only biked like once or twice in the entire week.
Oh, fantastic.
I know. And the bike camp is coming up. I have, for those of you guys, if you don't know if you guys listened to the podcast before or whatever it is, but there's like this dialed cycling training camp that's coming up, and it will be brutal. Even if you're in shape, it will be brutal. So going into it fresh, like me, might not be my best like plan of attack.
It's okay. You'll be 10 pounds lighter though, right?
I guess. Yeah.
It's only 5 weeks away, 6 weeks away.
It's coming up quick.
What kind of fitness can I put together in 5 weeks?
All of the fitness.
All of it?
You're in trouble, Matt.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I'm just gonna accept it.
You can put together some. You can put some fitness together enough to where you may not get completely dropped off on every single
I
climb.
think what you have to do is just go into it and be like, I'm going to get dropped the first 5 miles of every ride, but like it's still going to be a training camp for me, right? Like I'll still like I don't have kids, screaming at me all night long, and like you're going to be able to do workouts. Like I'm going to probably take a break from getting work done and stuff like. So it's still going to be a training camp. It's just going to be me biking by myself.
We'll send you out like a half an hour early, and we'll chase you down.
Make him the moto pace.
Yeah. And I could drive the adventure van and deliver snacks to people.
They're going to be getting ready for race season at that point. You and me will not be race ready by that point.
We're not going to be race ready. Yeah.
Just being there is going to be so much fun to hang out with everybody for a whole week.
Yeah.
And, regardless of how well the actual riding goes, it's going to be great to be there.
I'm jealous. You guys got to take a lot of pictures.
I guarantee, Matt, that you will step it up a little bit. There'll be pressure to do it.
I just want to make sure I like make it to some of the climbs and do some stuff, and I will have to be careful to moderate myself. I can't go you can't go do 100 miles the first day. Like I will not be able to do that unless I want to be done with the training camp. So I'm just gonna have to take it easy. Yeah.
In the meantime, go ride your bike.
Oh
yeah.
Secret
Is that how you do it?
Secret of your success.
Are you sure not just a bunch of single leg squats or something like that?
How about my swimming? Did that help?
Oh yeah. All kinds of help there. Yep.
All right.
We do have like a little lagoon in the backyard. So
Yes.
you can swim around that thing. So.
I looked at that and I'm like, yeah, I'm in that pool.
There you go. Hey, Evan, backpedal for us, man.
So just swam with Matt, which was fun. Prior to that, we did a little track workout on Saturday with some filming. I got to fly the drone for a second too, which I now really appreciate Matt's skill with the drone.
Oh, it is not easy.
He made it look so you just told me the instructions as if it was like, oh yeah, this thing's pretty self-explanatory. And me tracking Matt, I'd like really focus in. I was like, oh my God, this is very hard.
I looked at the footage. You did a great job.
Did I? Are you just saying that? Okay, good.
Yeah, I'm just saying that.
Did you put it in sport mode and say, hey, go?
Good luck. Good luck.
Those little things fly like 40 miles an hour.
I was impressed. Yeah, it was very cool to mess around with. But yeah, that was like my first, I would say, hard track workout I've done since like August. I was telling Matt, and the numbers weren't terrible. Like I felt comfortable. Ran 60 some miles last week, so.
You rode quite a few miles too. I checked. You're like what, 210, 220, somewhere in there?
Yeah, I was just under 12 hours. So I'm trying to ride 12 hours and run 60 some every week from now till the day that I die. So
it's crazy. I was all proud of myself on, I think it was Saturday, I rode 50 miles on the trainer. I'm like, God, that sucked. and then I look at Strava and I was like 70. I'm like,
74 or something.
But this is, I've been doing that style. Like, it's not even like, who's tougher. It's like, who can be bored longer is pretty much all it is.
Yeah, I saw your ride on Saturday. That was after the track workout, which was a hard track workout.
That was a hard bike ride, too. Yeah. I really tried to hurt myself that day. So, yeah.
Well, mission accomplished.
Sunday was a much easier day on the legs.
It's nice that you're posting to Strava because we can oogle at your workouts and stuff.
I'm still manually uploading everything. I'm getting so much crap about that.
We need to do that. We need to look at your setup.
Yeah.
Well, you didn't even wear a watch for the swim?
That's the thing is I very rarely train with watches. Like I'll even go on runs where it's like if I know the route and the distance, I just won't take a watch.
Yeah. Okay.
I like doing it without that. Now on the bike, I've probably
so good.
90% of my stuff is by numbers these days.
Good.
But yeah,
No, I think it's good not to be a slave to technology, but it is nice to just be able to press a button and upload,
yeah,
to Strava and
It
opposed
is.
to typing stuff in.
It is.
typing.
yeah. But yeah, swam today. I will be doing that every single Monday with this Masters
Did you have
group.
fun? Did you like
Oh
the
yeah.
I mean,
It's 4K flies when you're swimming with friends. Absolutely. Especially when one of them is Nate, who's just
my
blown us away.
gosh.
But yeah,
Yeah, we got destroyed in the water today.
he's
So,
fast.
He's good.
He made us both go faster though. I think we're gonna get fast. So
Good.
fast is relative. But yeah.
Weight loss challenge.
Weight loss challenge. I actually weighed myself. I'm down to 154. So I've lost 3 pounds from my 157.
Wouldn't it be funny if he won?
So
If you win this,
Here's the only thing I
I
realized.
give you the least chance of winning this.
too.
And
Me
I
too.
think you're in the lead.
I had a lot of training Saturday, Sunday. So, but here's the thing: is I realized I have to get down to 147 pounds.
yeah.
Not fair.
That's like Chris Froome range. Like I have to be like Skeletor to win this thing, and I already don't. Like I'm already not a strong person.
You
Like
should have
I'm
lobbied a little bit harder for that percentage change.
Yeah.
as
I
opposed
know.
to-
You didn't. I was like, we should do percentage, and you said nothing.
Well, here's the thing: is if I hit like a brutal weekend and then just decide not to eat for a day, I may be close. So I need.
Just to reiterate, we're doing this little, like about 6 week, drop 10 pounds challenge. But the question I had was, is it for the first one to lose 10 pounds, or is it
That's a good question. I don't know.
whoever loses the most weight in
At
that time
6
period?
weeks.
Yeah.
No. It's the first person to lose 10 pounds.
Yeah.
That's what we decided. That's what we talked about. People can chime in that listen to the podcast before and let us know what we said, but that's what we
True.
said.
What did we say?
right.
But the weigh-in has to be in the morning.
Yeah.
After elimination.
Post
Yeah.
pee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think that's the protocol, right? Like,
After elimination. That's why. Yeah. You can't go for a 4-hour ride where you ate nothing.
No, I know. I
And
know.
then weigh
Well, actually,
yourself.
if I did that, I think I'd probably
I'm
weigh
already
like
done.
150, 151 after that. So I'm already close.
yeah. I think Jake's looking good for that challenge. Evan, you're my guy that I had thought no chance. I think I was talking about with my wife and I was like, Evan has no chance. Yeah.
Oh, that's too.
If I do, I'm putting on those 10 pounds like the day after that. I'm gonna have to
Hey, Lance, backpedal.
Back pedal. Let's see. What did I do this
God,
last
I've been
week?
tracking your
gosh.
pictures.
Actually, the weight loss challenge really spurred me on. I'm like, okay, I gotta jump on this. So I got back from Idaho, and I've done a 50 or 60 mile ride every day. I've been back.
Did you hit a 15-hour week? Back? What'd you hit?
It was
Because now I'm stalking everybody on Strava, so
It was-
I'm really knowing. Like I'm trying to know my Strava.
it was
stuff now.
14
14.
hours.
That's what
I
I
had
said.
14 hours.
I know you beat me. Originally I was like, I'm gonna try and match Lance, and I'm like, I can't match Lance. There's no way.
Yeah, so I still had a pretty good week, which was fun. I went out twice by myself, just on the road bike, and it was fantastic.
Where did you go?
One day I just looped around Vancouver and then rode out Marine Drive, and I got some random KOM that I was not even trying for.
I think I saw that.
Did you grab that one from Chris?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
So Dr. Chris Hannell, our teammate, who can KOM anything he wants, especially flat stuff, he had a KOM around this little loop out by Blue Lake Park. And I had seen that he'd
I saw that.
done it, but I didn't know how fast he did it. I'd seen that he'd done it like a week before, so I'm headed out there. I'd already been going hard for quite a while, but I get to the spot and I thought, I'm just going to go hard on this loop.
Interlocking loop
Correct.
or something.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that. That's cool. It's a cool
Interlocking
loop.
to interlocking. Yeah.
Yeah.
So just through a little neighborhood, and there's very little traffic, and so
Yeah.
I kind of went for it, but I had no idea where I was. I ended up getting him by 1 second.
Oh,
See, I think you want to beat someone by about 1 second because then he can go back.
Yes.
If you beat him by like 40 seconds or something, like he's gonna be like, I'm not
forget it.
going out there.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
beat him by 1
I
second.
bit him by 1 second.
Right. That's the way to do it. He's gonna go out there and go after it.
Yeah.
he
So,
hasn't retaliated yet.
no, but I'm sure he will.
He's known for that, so he's got you marked already, bud.
That's awesome.
When he said something funny to me. I think did he text me?
I thought he commented on the Strava.
Here it is. He did.
Yeah.
He goes, because I said I would have pushed harder if I'd known that I was only going to beat him by 1 second. He says, well, now I know what I'm going to do next time I want to go for a ride. Better yet, I'll bring you with me. When do you get off work? Do you work weekends? Oh, wait.
Do you work weekends? No, he works Mondays though.
He just kind of hassled me which was pretty funny. So I would ride with Chris anywhere, anytime.
yeah.
If he would ask me to go, I'd absolutely go with him. So it was a lot of fun.
We need to do that Windy Ridge ride again,
Yeah.
with Chris, and go out there and really try to. Tell you what, we'll do this right after the 10-pound challenge. We'll go out to Windy Ridge and see if we
It's
can,
gonna be
as a
snow.
group, take that KOM. We'll go there.
The whole Windy Ridge will be.
That's
covered
fine.
in
Grab your
snow.
mountain bike.
So yeah, so that was fun. I did a couple other rides by myself, and then Saturday we have some local race promoters who invited me to go for a ride with them to pre-ride one of the new gravel events that they're going to put on this year, called the Yamhill Gravel Fondo. It's put on by Zone 5 Productions, who's a local race promoter here in Vancouver, Washington. So they invited me to go, and I decided to go with them, and we went out and pre-rode the whole Grande course, which was just beautiful. Great gravel.
It looked like
beautiful
you could
country.
almost drive, ride a road bike on it. It looks so smooth.
It could be done on a road bike with
I'm sure the
with
pictures,
28s.
It probably depends on what pictures you post, but
It also depends on how buffed out the gravel is or not, because there could be, there's no really big chunky sections, so it could be done on a road bike, but it's a 60-mile course, and it's 47 of that is on gravel.
yeah.
So it could be done on a road bike. You would just risk more flats or whatnot.
I hated turning down that invitation.
know.
I was like, ugh.
They were trying to get an idea of really how long it would, because they've been researching this route, and it's going to be like the closest gravel event to the Portland metro area in the next calendar year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So we're hoping to get a lot of people to come to the event.
How much climbing is on this course?
It was about 5,000 feet.
And then
Was
what's
that
the
70 miles?
that's
Was it?
60.
That's a solid amount. 60
Did you already
miles on
say
gravel.
what date they're thinking about doing it?
April 20th.
Okay.
Yeah, it's on the Ober calendar.
Yeah, it's on the Ober calendar. So they're going to do that. And I had a great time with those guys.
You wanna
It
do
was
it, Matt?
David Salzberg and David
I think
Hart.
it'd be fun.
Yeah.
But more like as a ride.
That'd be
I
fun
don't
as
wanna
a
race
yeah.
it.
You and me
Yeah.
going out as a ride. That'd be fun.
The venue where they're putting it on at has a great spot for food and drink and parking, and it's out there in Yamhill County. But man, I just it was a good time with the two Davids.
And I wouldn't mind just going and riding that too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Easy ride.
What bike would you jump on? Cross bike?
I think so.
Yeah.
That cross bike is a mess though. It's like my cross bike is like a cheap, very cheap, I don't know, bike that it has this problem where it's got this like single speed dropouts. And so if you put enough torque into the bike or whatever, it gets skewed. The wheel gets skewed.
Oh, yeah.
Which is a nightmare. So I should do something like, I don't know, like instead of having, normal skewer or whatever, like just bolt on something, because it's just
Right.
absolutely a nightmare.
Won't
I don't
stay
know.
in there.
It won't stay in there. So as long as I keep it under, 50 watts, I'm
Sure.
good. I just ride that thing all day.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, but I had a good time. It was fun. Weight loss challenge for me.
You're crushing it.
I am. Well,
Are you already 3 pounds down? Don't tell me you're already 3 pounds down. I was hoping I'd be on the leaderboard here.
so here's the thing. I after Saturday, when I woke up Sunday morning, I was 2 pounds down.
Okay.
Which was decent for me. But Sunday is traditionally my cheat day.
Yeah.
And I was several pounds up when I weighed up this morning. so I'm-
That's Lance. I feel like that's the exact same thing that happened to me, right? I was like good for a couple days,
Yeah.
down a little bit, and then all of a sudden I'm like, eh.
Well, and that's the thing. Just like we talked about, like your natural weight as an endurance athlete fluctuates quite a bit.
Yeah.
Actually,
Yeah.
actually, a lot more than people realize. It really does.
like 4 or 5 or 6 pounds throughout the course of the day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Easily. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I didn't wake up with good numbers this morning after Sunday off.
But you got to take that average. If
Yeah.
if that average is starting to do this and fluctuate
well,
down.
I give myself no chance at winning this.
You don't think so?
I don't.
You're pretty light.
Well, I am pretty light
Which is good.
Yeah, but I'm leaving on Wednesday for 10 days.
Is this your?
This is my scuba diving trip.
Okay,
Matt,
that's
this
gonna
is
help us a
this is
lot.
when you have to
Yeah.
do it, Matt. You
I can-
have to
I can
10
win it
days.
in 10
You got to do it
days.
10 days.
Yes, you could.
Why
I won't
not?
even be able to weigh myself.
Yeah.
I'll just be
With scuba gear, you're gonna weigh about
about 230.
You're gonna have to do a lot of open water swimming out there or something.
It's just nothing's gonna happen. I already
no.
know it.
You're gonna eat well too, right?
Oh yeah, they feed you like so. I'm on a liveaboard scuba boat, so it's only like 15 people on the boat,
Yeah.
and you wake up in the morning, they feed you breakfast, you do a dive.
Yeah.
You get out of the water, they feed you cinnamon rolls. You take a nap, you do a dive. You get out of the water, you have lunch.
I was about to ask if cinnamon rolls were lunch or
Nope.
if those are.
You have lunch, and then you have another nap, and then you do another dive after that, and then you get out of the water, and there's fresh baked cookies. Yeah, it's like just eat and dive.
So does the scuba instructor, is that his job? Like, I mean, is his life dive, cinnamon roll, dive,
Correct.
lunch? That's the greatest job ever.
Diving
That is
pastry
literally
chef,
the greatest
huh?
job ever. That is the
correct.
greatest job.
You'll be gone for 10 days. Is that 10 days on an actual
no,
boat?
it's the actual scuba part is 7 days.
So you think no biking for 10 days though?
I'm headed to Miami for the first day and a half. We're going to visit my brother-in-law.
Okay.
I'm trying to arrange a Velo Guide trip.
Oh, cool.
I'm trying to use Phil Guyman's, that's one of his sponsors is Velo
Yeah.
Guide. Velo Guide is a company where it's a traveling cyclist can hire a local to take them on a ride.
Yeah.
So that you go to a good spot.
You better make sure that local can hang with you.
That's what it's so I'm
Yeah.
Yeah,
the
that's
thing is
true.
I only have one day that I could actually do that, and I might not have a local guide available on Thursday.
Right.
So they're working on it to see if there's somebody who can take me, and you can rent a bike, so I just have to take pedals and shoes and helmet.
Just rent a bike from a local shop and then just scour Strava.
That's
Do it.
most likely what's going to end up happening.
Yeah.
Is I'll end up doing that.
Real quick, we've got some people chiming in here.
Sweet.
Nice.
Lance is sandbagging, per your friend Mr. Ryan Lee.
Okay.
Yes, he is, Ryan. He is absolutely sandbagging.
I have known to have some focus, especially in weight loss competitions, but I'm already kind of at a good weight for me, so to go
Yeah.
10 more pounds is going to be
That
hard.
isn't fair because this is completely unreasonable for me too, but I'm trying to commit to this. Okay.
So Evan was my long shot, and he's losing weight, which is scary. Now Lance, now you're my long shot
That's right. Yeah, with me going off on
with
this trip.
this trip.
Should we
Yeah.
should we have odds on this? We should start taking
Well,
odds on
here's
this.
the other thing. I don't want to go on the trip and deprive myself the whole week. I'm on
Yeah.
vacation.
I wouldn't do that.
Right?
Give me cinnamon rolls are
I'm
delicious.
like-
Yeah.
Just hope that things go off the wheels for Jake and I, and then don't worry about Evan. He's
I have no shot
and then after you get back, reweigh yourself and try to lose 10 pounds from that.
from there.
Just do a ton of push-ups instead of a nap.
That's a good idea.
Someone by the name of Rebecca Von During is chiming in here, and she's got a fix for you. It's basically don't take your Dramamine, and everything will work itself out with the weight.
That's true.
Awesome.
I will be puking on this trip.
That's an
There
awesome
will be that
recommendation.
happening. That's too funny.
You did say you usually will puke, right? Like you're just motion sick enough with the.
Yeah,
I'm kind of with you. And anything deep sea.
If the water is not smooth, I will fight seasickness the whole week. But I'll be taking Dramamine or Bonine every 4 hours religiously.
Now I
the
have
whole
not
time
been
I'm there.
scuba diving. Once you're in the water,
Yeah, no
are you
problem.
okay? Okay,
Yeah.
so as soon as you're off the boat, you're
Yeah,
fine.
yeah.
That's
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
That is, yeah.
And another person by the name of Brandy Hepler. Is that how you say that?
Brandy.
think it's
Brandy
Brand
Hepler
I.
saying, make sure you mention McKay's place. What's that?
My brother-in-law, McKay Farrell, this is Brandy's younger brother. He just opened a brew pub in Fort Lauderdale.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, he owns his own brewery. Him and a partner own a brewery. It's called Gulfstream Brewing.
Oh, nice.
They've been up and running for 6 months or something like that. So we're going out there to see him and to see. We saw it before the place was opened, and now it's open. Gulfstream Brewing is open. They make craft beers. He's totally
They
into
do
that.
food? They do food stuff?
They have food trucks come in, so
Okay, gotcha.
it's not a full restaurant,
Right.
but the brew pub industry is a bit in infancy in South Florida.
Yeah.
I was wondering what it's
yeah.
like in Florida.
So it's huge out here in the West.
Oh, yeah.
But
even in the
picking up.
Midwest, it was big. But
Yeah.
when I left Ohio, Illinois, states like that, it was growing.
So he was trying to get in on the base level in
Smart.
Florida, you know, and so he's in Fort Lauderdale. He's got a great place. So we're going out to see that. It's funny. I know nothing about
Right.
beer.
You
I don't know if the beer is
sniff the
good.
beers?
I've sniffed the beers.
Yeah, you can kind of
It,
get a.
it actually
Smells
smells
great.
really good, and I don't drink beer at all. And most of the time, beer smells just nasty.
I'd
to
imagine
me.
this one would taste good. I don't know.
That's right. So yeah, so we're hoping that McKay's little brew pub or his brewery really takes off. Gulfstream Brewing.
Did you tell him to do a sparkling water line for you?
he did get sponsored by Jones Soda, so he has
Yeah.
Jones
He's got
sodas
sodas
there.
there.
Yeah,
Good.
Yeah.
there you go.
Cool.
And then you could do food trucks. So that'd be
Yep, and
pretty
he has
fun.
food trucks come in every weekend for games and stuff. So
Excellent.
that's what they're doing there.
That's a good little setup.
Speaking of games, Alabama, Clemson.
Oh, that's tonight.
Oh,
The national championship
Let
game.
me just take all those beers off your hand, Jake, and
Take them, man.
wait. Let's
Go
put our
party it
let's
up.
put our weight challenge on pause.
the pride of Alabama. Is this just like, so you being from Alabama? I mean, I was born in Florida, but not Alabama, so I don't understand the Auburn, Alabama, the
weird.
meaning of college football there. Is this like, if they lose, is that state going to go into a spiral for a
Yeah,
couple months?
pretty
Okay,
much.
yeah.
So like it was, if Lance were to like come visit Alabama, people would, kids and other people would just be like, "Who do you like? Which football team do you like? Alabama or Auburn?" And you have to decide.
And if you
You have
answer
to
it
make a
wrong,
decision.
You decide.
if you answer it wrong, an 8-year-old will beat you up, right?
yeah,
Okay.
you're in.
Escort you to the border, right?
And yeah, and you can be like, "Oh, I like UNLV or whatever," and they're gonna be like, No, Alabama or Auburn. Who do you like? Like it is like line in the sand kind of thing. It's weird, but it's it's good. It's our little, like, we don't have an NFL team. Like we don't have a lot of stuff. There's not a lot going on down there, but like football.
The Crimson Tide's basically an NFL team, so.
Yeah. So
Cool.
All right.
We've been rambling on for quite some time.
I know we have.
Backpedal.
How did that happen? How did that happen on this podcast?
Here's the win there. My back pedal is extremely short. I rode on the train for 10 hours last week.
Boom.
Period. Done. Move
But
on.
you got to 10 hours.
I
That's
did.
where-
Yeah, we were talking about it last week. Because you've been dancing at that 8-9 mark for a little bit.
Yeah, so
was it a hard? I mean, did you do some hard workouts?
There
Are
was
you
a few
feeling
hard workouts.
Are you feeling
under
good?
there. Yeah, the endurance stuff is starting to come around. I'm chasing it down.
Nice.
So,
That's awesome. Put the work
kick
in.
his
man.
booty, and then I'm really getting excited for camp. Riding, like over the weekend, I don't know, it was like 80 or 90 miles that I put in on the trainer. And that's a lot for a trainer, and it was all geared towards like the camp. And I just kept thinking about like how much fun that's going to be, and I just want to get in the best shape I possibly can, so that when we get down there, it's going to be enjoyable and I won't get destroyed. And
What's the, real quick, like what's roughly like the days and distance that you guys are doing at the camp?
we're still in the design phase of
Okay.
putting that all together, but it will probably end up being, I don't know if it'll be quite as big last year. I think there's going to be
Last
a little
year
bit,
was huge, wasn't it?
There's
Yeah.
more elevation gain where we're going to be, so I'd imagine that our mileage is going to slip a little bit, but the elevation gain could potentially increase by quite a bit. So we'll have more on that soon.
Good.
So, all right, let us get started on our first topic. Today we are going to talk about some how-tos, and by that I mean how to do said whatever. So how to fix something, how to train for something, how to get prepped for something. And we put it out there for everybody just to kind of come up with their own how-to. And we're hoping that we can impart some knowledge, I'm hoping, on everybody out there. So, Evan, I'm going to start with you today.
Okay.
What's your how-to?
So this is just going off of this last week of training for me. I really, this is an interesting way to train, but I think it's an important way to train. Whether you're a cyclist, a triathlete, a swimmer, a runner, anybody, it's how to really get, I think, the best out of your like sharpening the top end sort of workouts. And I realize that's at least for myself. And I know me and Matt were just talking about this in the pool. It is very hard to get to your true limit without chasing somebody.
Yeah.
Very hard to like actually be completely on. Like, I mean, same idea when if you guys are riding in a group and you got to sprint away and there's a guy pulling away from you, you're going to get a lot closer to your max than if you're just sprinting by yourself.
Correct.
Yeah.
Like it's carrot chasing, I think, is the best way to do your sharpening the top
I
end.
generally build lancings into my workouts.
Yeah.
So,
Exactly, yeah.
so I need to be lanced so that I can chase him down and get my interval session.
So I can be
in.
capped by 20 seconds by lands, but that's, I mean, Matt was talking about when I was, not feeling great during my track workout because I haven't done sharpening top end speed in a little bit. He would run the last 400 with me. So right at that point when I'm like, I kind of want to slow down, I realized, I still have plenty in my legs. Like I still have plenty to be able to catch up to him and be able to kind of chase him for a
And you
little
could
bit.
watch me for a little bit and then catch me,
Yeah.
pass me, make me look bad.
Well, I really only passion that last like
Yeah, it's
100,
fine.
but
It's
yeah,
perfect,
no.
yeah.
So it's I mean, and then obviously in the pool, it's even better. You can we did a set of 4x25 right next to each other, which was kind of interesting,
cool.
where you don't really have a choice to slow down, because if you slow down, you're going to get kicked in the face. But same idea with cycling is if you don't stay with the increase in pace, you're going to get dropped off the group. So anytime you're sharpening those intervals, like build in some group training. So I think the how-to would be like, how do I do intervals? Well, go and do them with people, because
Correct.
it's a whole lot easier than sitting there and trying. I mean, we all do trainer intervals. Like I understand that, but if you need to schedule in once a week where you're like, I'm going to go on a group ride that I know is going to be hard, and I know that it's going to be, pacey. There's going to be some efforts, and I don't know when they're going to be, but I'm going to have to go with that move when it happens.
To add to that, and since you're not new to Strava, but you're just now starting to really get into it, not always can you jump on a group ride. Not everybody has a group to train with, and not everybody has a group that's going to want to go that hard. And some people need to be challenged a little bit more. So Strava with their segments, and then utilizing the live segment feature
Zwift
within
too. If we're talking, Zwift's another good one for that. Yeah.
It's a great way to chase that digital carrot.
Absolutely.
And I've used that before in the past too for getting through difficult workouts, and have that little reward at the end is kind of nice.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, there's definitely that debate whether it's like, hey, these segments, are they messing up your workout? And I think the answer is like, maybe. They
you let
might
it,
be
yeah,
if
yeah.
you let them. But the other side of the coin is like, they can, if you take a look at your workout that you want to do and you integrate a segment, then bam, like I think it's a
I think
win.
they can augment them if you use them
Absolutely.
right. I mean,
Yeah.
if you're doing it every single day, like you're definitely burning your engine out. But if you once a week say, I'm going to go Strava KO I'm chasing, absolutely.
It's just like we talked about that a few weeks ago, the fartlek training, that speed play work with respect to utilizing those segments. That's a great way to challenge yourself. So.
Exactly.
Cool. And then you mentioned Strava, or not Strava, I'm sorry, Zwift as well. There's group workouts on there. There's races on there. That's a great way to go punish yourself and get some of those harder workouts in.
I've been watching some of those YouTube Zwift videos that guys are doing. There's a lot of people weight doping out there.
Yep.
On Zwift, there was one guy who did a workout. This is a pro. I forget what pro team he races for, but he was showing one of his harder Zwift workouts he did. There were two guys that they said they averaged like 615 watts for 45 minutes. And they're sitting there joking, and they're like, yeah, okay, he's got an 8 watts per kilo. They're like, yeah, he's dropping Lance on Hotacom back in 2001.
Right.
Like he's just like. And they, of course, immediately, as soon as the race is over, flag it and disqualify. I mean, Zwift's not even probably going to ask you. They're like, no, that's not real.
Yeah.
So, but yeah,
Unfortunately, that's just how people are.
Yes.
I don't get that. I mean, I can understand if you accidentally do that, or if is there a chance that like your power meter is just reading wrong or something, or is
there is that? But then I think for me, it's
Didn't you say there's ways to dope the wattage too?
Yeah, but I don't think a lot of people are taking the time to write software to man in the middle attack a Zwift ride. But I don't know. I'm sure someone is doing it because it'd be fun to do it. But I also think, like, for me, I am adjusting my weight for group rides, which is I'll quickly plug our group ride, which I don't think is specific to the Dialed team, even though it's a Dialed team ride.
Yeah, it's more of like just an open invite for anybody who wants to come ride with us.
Which I think is Tuesdays at 6:30.
Correct.
Okay, good. I'm really going to try to make a focus to be at those group rides, just because, just like you said, riding with a group definitely makes makes a couple of things. It's you can definitely go harder than you would otherwise, but also I'm getting more mileage than I probably would otherwise too. So Lance led the last one, and it was awesome.
Jake did one after that.
Oh,
I think.
I missed one.
Yeah.
I was probably out of town. So
Yeah.
But yeah, and this is just just going off this how-to. I know me and Matt were just talking about this in the car, but I think some people, when they say intensity and intervals, okay, I need to put intensity and intervals into my workouts in my week. They need to realize that it's not the volume of intensity that you're doing; it's actually the quality of that intensity. And this is where I know everybody can train in different ways and get success. But I think if you more focus on, like we were talking about, there's some people who kind of prescribe by this, like a 90 to 95% rule should not be workouts that kill you, and then there should be a 5 to like maybe at most 10% workouts that are difficult, and those workouts need to be really, really difficult.
Yeah.
Instead of just kind of difficult. I think the kind of difficult is what a lot of people are starting to get away from, because that just burns you out over long periods of time.
Right.
You should be looking forward to your interval day, not like, oh my God, my legs are dead, I got to do another 10 by 5 minute slog on the trainer, says the guy who does that workout all the time. But still,
I think trainers with coaches and I think like I'm thinking back, like collegiate runners and things like that, like they have those programs where it's like big workout on Wednesday. Like, make sure you're ready for it. Like, you just go into it with that mentality.
Yeah, it's like that race mentality of, okay, I'm going to be
So-
racing my buddies today. We're going to be chasing each
It's gonna
other.
be hard. Yeah. And I'm maybe the triathlete side of me is like messing that up because it's like, oh, I can go hard on the swim today because we have a big group that's doing this. It's super fun. And then, I'm tired for bike or something other that might be more important,
Yeah.
Don't know.
But yeah, group training, chase each other. It's fun.
Any other tips or how-tos on how to sharpen that stuff up?
So from the track perspective, I think, and this is what I'm talking about because a lot of triathletes that will listen to this are your 70.3 and full Ironman sort of group. If you look at even how the pros are training, they sharpen the top end all year. This isn't there is no base building period to their training. Now, there's periods where there'll be higher volume, but they are always sprinkling in intensity. So I think when people make that transition from, okay, I've been doing sprint and Olympic triathlons, I want to bump up to Ironman distance, but I still want to be fast and competitive, and I still want to be PRing myself. You need to realize that sharpening that top end gives you benefits to all aerobic aspects. You are developing your aerobic engine. Just sit in zone 1, zone 2 all day is not going to do that. You still need 5% of the time to be doing that very top end sort of work, whether that's a 10 by 50 swim set or a even 30-second, sort of sprints on the. I mean, the best example is I just watched a video on Allie Brownlee, who's an Olympic gold medalist in triathlon, doing 20 by 30 seconds on the bike. Like he was doing like just pure like track cyclist sort of workout. Yeah. But yeah, and that's a guy who races 73 right now. So
You're not going to increase that top end without doing intensity.
without doing the top end.
Yeah,
exactly.
You've got to do some intensity.
Exactly. And on the track for me, that's meant like this next week I'm doing a 10 by 5, 500 meter workout, which is what Matt just talked about. Yeah.
Okay, cool. I didn't realize you were doing that workout.
I will not do that workout.
Lance, you sure?
You want to do it on the cross bike? You can do it on the cross bike right
Follow
next
you
to
on the cross bike. That is a great idea.
Give me like a 200 meter start and let's see if we can like link up right at the end. Yeah.
Right on. Matt, how to
Something. How to
something.
something.
You were saying something about, do you want to do how to do something?
Yes. Okay. So for me, the wintertime, which is kind of upon us at this point, depending, I know a lot of times people will listen to this podcast and they're like, I'm going to go back and listen to all of them. And so for us, it's wintertime. And for triathletes, I think a lot of us try to put a big swim block in the wintertime just because for whatever reason, like summer comes around, it's so much easier to go get bike volume. It's so much easier to go out for that run when the weather's nice. Wintertime, I think, is a primo time to go hit the water and just plug away some serious like meters in the pool and hopefully get faster. But what I have been hearing from just like a number of people, not just Jake's wife, but a number of people have been saying like, hey, I want to get into triathlon. Like the swimming, I don't get the swimming. Like I can run, I can bike, whatever. That stuff you can just put the time into it. But swimming, especially adult onset swimmers, they come into it and it's just so foreign, right?
Yes.
Like, and this is, I'll give you my personal example. I was, I would have considered myself a strong athlete, like Division I collegiate runner. You put me in the water and I would literally go like the length of the pool, and just like tough it out, Matt, like turn around, go back. And I'd come back and then just grab the, either the lane line or the edge of the pool and just be like breathing super heavy. And that's, that's 50 meters or 50 yards. And I was exhausted. And you can't, it's almost to the point where you're like, you can't even swim a workout like that. Like you can't get to the workout because you're so inefficient in the water. Yeah. And I think for a lot of people that are new to swimming, they might be in the same boat. And So here's my how-to.
Adult onset swimmers are at a huge disadvantage.
Absolutely.
Your body goes through so many adaptations as a young swimmer that it is you are playing the slowest catch-up game ever.
Ugh.
Now that is not to discourage anybody.
No.
Because I'm also somebody who did not start actually swim training until I was like 17 or 18.
Yeah, and
which was 18 years late. But
right. So I don't remember exactly when I started, probably 32, 30, whatever. And I think I've come along, enough.
Matt, you today swimming very strong with peer swimmers today.
Yeah.
Like people who have been swimming their entire life, you're right there, if not beating them on a lot of those sets.
Yeah.
So.
I'm not like tooting my own horn, but
I'll toot your horn.
But my how-to is I think how to start swimming for kind of adult swimmers, and I'm gonna give 3 recommendations. The one is get in the water on a regular basis. Right. So probably try and get in the water. You don't have to swim a ton. My goal originally was like, I got to be able to swim a mile. And you really don't. Like, I think if you can get 1,000 yards in or 1,000 meters or whatever, that's fine 3 days a week. Like when you're starting, that's going to be plenty. But just being in the water on a regular interval is going to get you familiar with the water. You're going to get a better feel for the water. And what you're thinking is like, oh, my cardio fitness isn't there because I'm out of breath when I get to the blah, blah, blah. And that's not it at all. Like your cardio is there. You've been running or biking or whatever your background is. It's your feel of the water.
Your
and
efficiency
it's
is
your
not there.
position in the water.
Yeah.
So to take care of that, you're going to need to get in the water on a regular interval. And my recommendation is 3 times a week. And then the next recommendation that I have for these new swimmers is to try just swimming a good bit, but also grab a pool buoy from hopefully the pool that you're swimming at just has them available. Most pools do, but if you can grab a pool buoy, you can go online and buy one. You're looking at like $5 to $10. They're very affordable. But yeah, so you would put that between your legs. And don't try to swim like fast necessarily, but what that buoy will do is it'll put your body in a better position, basically more on top of the water. And when you're dragging your feet less, because your kick is not going to be fantastic when you start swimming, but when you drag your feet less and you're more on top of the water, you're going to sail through the water a lot smoother. Okay, third recommendation goes with that pool buoy. And the third recommendation is don't stress about your pace, like I said before, but really focus on figuring out the breathing aspect of it. So if you can breathe on both sides, that's great. But really, like a lot of the times, it's just a matter of like fixing the breathing, like learning how to breathe when you first start swimming. So I think those 3 recommendations should really help new swimmers kind of go from that point where they're like, hey, I swim 50 meters and I'm absolutely exhausted, to get to the point where they can do some sort of workout. They can do some sort of like slight interval training where they do end up with 1,000 meters or maybe even a mile long swim. And then if they do that on a regular basis, they're in, they're hooked.
And this is where if you can find a group of there's the I know Movement Revolution does the Sunday morning swims.
Yeah.
Which I know some of the people getting into triathlon here that I've talked to recently are going to those workouts now, and it's good because you're around people now just getting into swimming.
Did you go to that yesterday? That would have been yesterday, right?
No,
Okay.
I'm always doing a bike workout around that time.
Okay.
But yeah, Cassie, Kat, and Charmiel are the 3 coaches there, and they're both awesome swimmers.
Right.
They know their stuff. They're those people who actually swam when they were kids, so
Right.
they like actually know how to swim. But
Yeah.
they great coaches, but it's a good group to get in to, just so that's not intimidating. Because I mean, I've done some masters swimming back in Ohio, and now doing this masters group here a couple times. It's intimidating to jump into one of those
Yes,
groups. It is,
it is.
because even the slow lane, you're still with people who swim. Like there's,
Right.
so
Yeah.
just getting with a group that you can initially learn how to float, which is
Yeah.
important.
And exactly. It's probably for all of the folks that are really struggling with it, it probably has a lot more to do with position and feel of the water than cardiovascular fitness.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the thing that I was mistaken thinking, like, how come I can't do this? Yeah, I'm an athlete, and
It's all about the pull and the feel for the water.
Yeah. It just
Feel
takes
for the water is the best way to put it.
Yeah.
It takes time.
This
Yeah.
is from a physiology point of view. Running is and I think I've mentioned this on this podcast, is a subcortical activity. So is cycling, actually. Both are subcortical, which means it is not something you have to consciously think about. When a human runs, they run.
Just going right over my head.
But that's the thing, is it goes under your head technically because it's subcortical. But swimming is not that activity. It is very much something a human has to learn. Human beings were not meant to like. The fastest swimmer in the world, Michael Phelps, is the slowest thing in the water.
Yeah.
Like there's very
no
small fish
creature.
that swim.
Yeah,
that
there's
swim
no-
much faster than Michael Phelps does.
Yeah, it's an interesting sport, and I know this is a cycling podcast, but I hijacked it and made it a swimming.
What do you do for someone who swims like a T-Rex?
Get longer arms.
Don't get in the water.
Yeah.
Get one of
some
those
flippers,
We need
yeah.
to get one of those bike
Breaststroke.
bike boat things.
Breaststroke.
that are sold.
I'm game. Lance, how to?
My how-to thing, I'm going to take it back to cycling.
I was hoping so.
What?
Yeah.
What?
We went from running to swimming to now cycling.
And I think I'm going to do a how-to for some beginners because I think we have a fair amount of beginners who listen to this podcast.
Sure.
That's awesome. Yeah.
How to change a flat.
Oh, I got some.
This is
stuff
huge.
to
Are we
add
sure
to
that
this,
Lance
so
should
do
be
your thing,
talking
though.
about this? Because I remember watching this guy change a flat once, and we had to time trial for a pretty darn long time to get back.
That's
to
why it's like changing a flat tire is like one of the stress out things
It
with
is.
a cyclist.
I screwed up in the cold too, so I can't even berate you.
Right.
Yeah, that's
Am I going to be able to do it right? Do I have all the right equipment to do it? Am I going to be able to, anyway. So, just a couple of tips with
we should talk about how to do it fast.
to
Though.
change
So
a
if you're on a
flat.
group ride, what's the most efficient fast way to
Okay,
do
so
it?
let's
Yeah.
start with what gear do you guys like to have with you?
Well, obviously, you have to have a tube with you.
Gotta have a tube.
One or two. Do you always have two on you?
It depends. If it's a longer ride, I'll absolutely
Yeah.
put a second one in there.
I need to start carrying two on me
if
more
it's
often.
just me by myself too, I will take two just to be
If
safe.
I'm by myself, I
Yep.
take 2 tubes. If I'm
Yep.
on a group ride, I take 1.
Yep, same
CO2 or pump?
I always take CO2.
Yep.
You're a CO2 guy?
Yeah.
I hate CO2. I use it a lot, but I'm always like,
You know what it is? It's about finding the right adapter that is
Yeah.
easy to use.
my adapter's garbage.
Because there's some that are super easy to use and some that are just
Yeah, it's like you crack
waste
it
half
and you're
your
at 100.
canister.
You're at 110 psi before you can react to what just happened.
Yeah. I know Matt is a guy that always takes a pump
Yep.
with
Hand
him.
pumps.
Yeah. So, but I always take CO2 with me.
I actually will strap on a pump to the bottle cage and keep it on my frame in the winter months, just because where we ride, the roads tend to be a lot crappier, and
Yeah.
the chance of you getting a flat is much higher. And if you do get another flat and you're out of CO2s, you're done. So
Yeah.
I had
Call of
3
shame.
flats on that sweater ride we did. 3 flats.
Yeah. So, and then depending upon my wheels, if they're, I've got pretty strong hands, so I can generally get wheels off or tires off the wheel pretty easily. If it comes off easily, I usually won't bring a lever unless the weather is pretty crappy out and it's cold and your hands are kind of frozen numb.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's usually a lever though in my little saddlebag.
cool.
So, yep. Anyway,
I always bring a lever too.
I'm with you. I always got to have the lever.
Yeah.
and then
Hey,
sorry.
Jake has way stronger hands than me. I have a set of wheels that I struggle getting the tire off and getting the tire on. It depends on the type of tire and it depends
really
on the type
does.
of wheel.
Certain
Jake,
tires, certain
that-
wheels. Yep.
Yeah.
That wheel on my road bike you gave me on that rear,
Yeah.
I realized on the front, don't need a lever. I'm good. On that one on the back, me and David Goodman had to
We're working
oh
together.
my God, on that lever, we were cranking on this thing to get it off. Yeah. Cool.
So a couple of tips. Getting your wheel off. It's easier to get your wheel off by putting your chain into your smallest rear cog, right? Your smallest gear on the back.
The other thing that's nice about that is you know where your gears are set when you get
Yes.
back on the bike and you don't have to
Yeah,
you
try
know,
to figure
yep.
out where you're at.
roughly. I mean, you roughly know where things are set. I mean, I don't always put it right in the small.
It also just slides into the hangers better.
Yeah, it's easier to get
More
on. It's
chains.
quicker if it's in the smallest gear. So you put it in your smallest gear. You take your wheel off the frame. I use a tire lever to get the tire loose. I only take one.
Now, where do you start usually if you're going to loosen it? Do you go on the opposite side of the
Whatever.
valve, or do you go next
Usu-
to the valve?
Usually, I go opposite the valve.
One quick suggestion though, before you start busting the lever out and trying to get it off, break the tire off the bead so that the bead of the tire falls into the center channel
of the
of
rim.
the wheel, and that will create so much more working room for you so that you don't actually stretch out the bead of the tire and ultimately end up ruining your tire or cause yourself to jump off.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
no, sorry.
So run that tire lever around the tire, get the tube out, and then the first thing I do is take my finger and run it through the inside of that tire to try to find what caused the flat.
And then when you slice your finger, you're like, found it.
yeah,
Exactly.
I've done that, but I would rather cut my finger a little bit than get another
lose
flat
another tube.
than lose another tube.
Yeah.
So
get
sometimes
some
you can
flats.
find it quick and sometimes not so much because it could be a tiny little
Yeah.
piece of glass or it could be a staple that is through your tire. It's easy to see.
Right. And I've had it too where it's like it's in the tire so
it's so
much that
hard
it's
to
like
see.
it's
Yeah.
all the way in the tire, almost all the way in the rubber, and you're like, I can't find it on either side.
Right.
How did this thing get in that like dug into the rubber so well? But
There's another little trick, and I don't want to be stealing your glory here.
No,
but
that's why
No,
it's a
Jake
discussion.
is absolutely the pro at this. Trust me.
I've changed a few flats in my day, as has Lance. He's
I have changed a few.
quite a few flats. Anyhow, when you actually mount your wheel up with the tire on there, find the label of the tire. And it's not just an aesthetic thing. That does fall into the whole Velomonti. I can never say that right. There's
Velomonti.
Velomonti, whatever.
Belgian people.
Yeah, making it look pretty. But there's a reason why you want to align the label over the stem. Because once you take the tube out, if you take it out carefully, you can figure out, geographically speaking, where that hole is, and then you can actually, if it's a Presta valve, you can unscrew it and push down the little stem, and you can blow some air in there. Then you can feel where the air's coming out. Or if Matt's with you, can just snag his hand pump, and then you'll find out exactly where that's at. So it'll tell you exactly where it's at on the tire. There's a lot of times though, you'll hit a piece of glass, it'll be embedded in your tire. You can't see it you don't feel it on the inside and you don't feel it on the outside. But what happens is once you hit some sort of a bump or indentation on the road, it will push that into the tube. And next thing you know, you've got a slow flat that's going to put you out.
So you're saying put the align the tire with the label to the Presta valve.
Sure, yep.
So that then you can locate it. You can look at the tube, find out where the leak is in the tube.
Yep.
And then you know where it is in the tire.
Yeah, because a lot of
That's
times
good
what will happen
recommendation.
is people will take the tire completely off and they'll toss it to the side and they're like, oh, how was it oriented on the wheel? I can't
where was it
remember.
at?
So if you just take it off, you don't have to take the full thing off. That will help you out as well. But if you do take the whole thing off, or you need to get your hand in there to figure it out, you can simply just go to the tube and find out where the hole's at, and then you can just kind of reverse engineer that whole process to figure out, geographically speaking, where that hole is at.
Yeah.
2 cents there. So
Yeah.
So and
absolutely.
so new cyclists potentially, that haven't dealt with a lot of flats, making sure you figure out the root of the problem is pretty important, because there's a good chance if you don't do that you're going to be stopping like a mile down the road and dealing with a second flat.
How do you know that happens, Matt?
So many years of experience.
Because it's happened to you
All
so
of
many
us.
times.
All of us, right?
Yeah, same thing. You learn, oh, hey, I got a flat. I'm super proud. I fixed it. It's all blown up. And 500 meters later, I'm flat again. Why? Because I didn't find the little piece of glass, or I didn't find the staple or the piece of wire that's in my tire.
I had on that sweater ride.
Yeah.
I had a flat in the front as soon as Jake decided to pick up the pace. That's the only reason I got dropped right now. That's
Yeah, because you and I were talking, and
was-
then all of a
I
sudden
know.
I was like, they're gone. They're going. Yeah.
That was a convenient flat. My next flat was my rear. Just worst luck ever. And then I flatted in the front later that night, which means I think there was a piece. I've actually checked the tire. That tire's toast. I've got to get. I mean, it was time for that tire to get retired anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Sometimes you just have bad luck,
Retired.
though, too.
Oh
so.
yeah, absolutely. And also just for people knowing, like, oh well, what kind of weather do I usually get flats in? If you're riding in like that fall kind of rainy weather. And Jake, correct me if I'm wrong, but when the gravel gets kind of wet on the road, it'll stick to the tire. And then as soon as you hit a big enough bump, sometimes it'll wedge itself into the tire, and that's when you get those flats. So dry weather, probably less likely to get flats.
Correct. Yeah.
Sorry to hijack you, Lance.
Yeah,
What else
more
you got for us on
hijacking
the tire changing?
The other thing that the most nerve-wracking part with changing a tire with me is if you're using CO2, not to blow your CO2 while you're.
Yeah, that's always my thing too.
So
I know.
it just takes some practice, and for me and for a newbie, it's probably worth it to not only take 2 CO2s with you just in case, but to have one that you practiced with at home at some point, so you know exactly how it works. Because some of the CO2s and the little adapters work when you push it onto the rim, and some have a valve that you open, and there's certain
Every
ones
single one's different.
they're all different.
They are all
the
different.
adapter, like you said before.
Yeah.
And then you said this, that, I always carry a hand pump, but I almost am like, do you want to, I always, someone will have a flat in the group, and I'm like, do you want to use my hand pump instead of waste your CO2?
Yeah.
So it's just like having that option.
Yeah, the other option.
There. But I think if you're.
I may this spring just start taking a hand. But I've always been a CO2 guy, but I hate CO2.
But I also
And
think
just,
that there's real value to practicing the CO2.
It is, yeah.
Because it is faster. It's not even always necessarily lighter weight. You'd think it would
More
be,
compact
but
and
it's
easier
just.
to transport
Yep.
around now.
It's
And if you're going to be in a race situation at some point, you're
Right.
not going to have your hand pump with you, most
Right.
likely.
Yeah.
You're going to be, at a
oh, wait,
CO2.
is that not cool?
Well,
you guys are laughing, but
cut down weight.
Remember, me and Matt aren't trying to win road races here. We're just trying to get to the finish line. Okay.
I've brought my really small hand pump. I weighed these things out, and I was like, This is lighter.
It cannot be that much heavier than a couple CO2
my
cartridges
little
in an
my little
adapter.
hand pump was lighter than CO2, and I was like, I'll just bring the hand pump.
Because those little CO2s are not. I mean, those aren't terribly light.
It's just
We're
just-
really being
it's a
Graham
lot.
weenies
It's a
right
lot
here, though.
faster. Yeah, it is. It is coming down to it was very small difference or whatever in weight, but it's so much faster to have the CO2.
Got a
now.
question for you,
Yeah.
Matt. Where do you generally hold your pump?
Okay, so I actually, we talk about like having pockets for specific things. In my back right pocket, I have the hand pump and a spare tube typically. And then on
Back
my
right pocket?
back right pocket, which is
Why?
weird because that's usually where you would want to go grab like your food
Phone.
or
Yeah.
whatever,
Yeah.
phone or whatever.
Put it in
That
your
just
side
happens.
pocket.
That's the pocket that happens to be the one that's the one for that. And I think my
Why
phone
is
is
it
in
though?
my phone is in the middle pocket. I think there's less likelihood that it would bounce out, and I don't want to lose my phone. And then nutrition on the left. I don't know why I have it that way. Maybe I should think that through a little bit. But and then on the tri bike, I actually attach it to the frame like behind my butt. And there's also a water bottle back there, so it's kind of hidden back behind my
I've
butt
seen
cheeks.
your setup back there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Reason
Still
I
pretty
asked,
arrow.
Yep.
I read an article probably, 8 or 10 years ago about a guy that was out riding, had his pump in his center rear jersey pocket,
Okay.
Yeah.
crashed,
Oh no. Oh no.
Yeah.
said pump broke his spine, severed said spine,
God.
and is a paraplegic now because of that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I've always had that in the back of my head,
Really?
and
Do you
I'm
think that-
scared to put a pump. Now, a lot
Yeah.
of you guys probably know this, but I broke my back before when I was a
Yeah.
kid when I was 14 years old. So I'm kind of like a little skittish about that to begin with.
Understandably.
But, what do you think about just making sure that pump is mounted to the frame?
How long was the guy's pump though? Because I mean, these small pumps are. Well, I guess if
Well,
you land on it at a
It's
perfect
a
level.
one in a million shot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't know if it's one in a meal. If you think about it, when you crash, if you hit your back on something,
Yeah, but the chance of all that force landing
Yeah.
right on the
Yeah,
pump
'cause it would
that
have to
translates
land on
right
like a-
into your
yeah.
back, you know.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
what I think's
The
one
other
in a
thing
million
is,
shot.
I always worry like, what about you when you put your keys in your back pocket? Like,
True.
there's all these things.
I've
where
thought
I'm like,
about keys before because I always have a key back there. I was like, this isn't going to impale me.
yeah, I would just keep one key, and I purposely take
One key. Yeah.
one key and leave everything else behind. So
Yep.
I don't know.
It does worry me about. I've thought about that too. Like landing on my back, like I have a lot of junk back here. Like
Yeah.
what's
So,
gonna hurt?
For instance, when I was at the Cherry Pie Road Race and we had that crash right at the very end, and I flew over the handlebars at 35 miles an hour and landed square on my lower
Directly on your
back.
back.
If I had had a pump back there, and this
Yeah.
crossed my mind afterwards, I never mentioned it, but I'm like, because looking at my back in the mirror, man, it was all tore up.
What did you have back there?
It
Nothing.
wouldn't have been
Nothing.
good.
Because
Absolutely
well,
not.
just nutrition.
Yeah.
Ryan,
Yeah.
that was for you. Nutrition.
Ryan. Yeah. So yeah, nutrition's nice and soft back there. I mean, I think in a race situation, that's.
And you're not really taking it. Well,
But we
do you guys
all-
take your phone during a race?
No.
But we all
don't
take
think
our
I-
phones
Unless it's
on.
well,
Okay, I will.
I mean-
when I get back to doing PIR, I will have my phone on me for one reason. Can you guys guess?
you want to live stream the race,
Yes,
right?
baby.
I will say the only thing I used to take during road races is I literally only take nutrition, and people would always get on me like, "Why do you not take a flat kit?" And it's because I have this mentality with me that if I flat the race over, I'm
Yeah.
not doing it.
I'm
Like
in
the race is
same
done.
boat. I take
Race
my
is
saddlebag
done.
off.
I do the same thing for triathlon. People are like, even for a full Ironman, if I flatted, my day would be done.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah, it's 5 minutes. You can make that up.
I
in
know,
a
but it's a
full.
mental thing with
in
me.
a full, and you want to finish too. So
I haven't done a full yet, so I'll probably go
Okay.
ahead and
We'll come
back
back.
one. Yeah,
we'll come back to that.
we'll come back to that
discuss.
next year. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, what about landing on your phone? Have we all thought about like that should be
I think
flat enough that we okay or what?
If I'm going to crash
it's the
hard
same
enough
idea.
that I'm going to mess something up by landing on my back, there's lots of other things I'm going to break too.
I don't know.
So I guess I just
The pump does. I mean, I'm with you. It wigs me out. Like thinking about like that back there against
If you
my
hit your
spine.
back hard, I mean, if you're flipping around and hit your back hard enough, like I'm with Lance here.
Well-
There's a myriad of things that can
that's
happen.
gonna
Well,
happen.
Cherry Pie is a perfect example.
Yeah.
I got pretty beat up and bruised. And,
Yeah,
you
but
know,
nothing impaled you. which is-
Exactly.
yeah.
Or even worse. Nothing
Well,
was broken.
And if you had that pump sideways against in your back pocket, like that would not be comfortable or you know.
or even possible. I think I'm
I
not
don't
sure.
know. Well,
Well, see, but I never have to worry about this, Jake, because you were at the front sprinting there. I would have been dropped out the back as soon as the pace picked up. So I'd be like, okay, we're going to comfortably smooth into this finish line here.
it's my steady 200 watts.
Exactly.
Anyway, just kind of food for thought there. I'm
Yeah.
not quite. That's why when I got my hand pump, I got the little adapter to put it next to the bottle cage so
Yeah.
that I can know that it's not on my body. So
Yeah.
plus I don't like having stuff back there if I don't have to. But
I'm with you. During races, I like
Yeah.
to have as little back
or
there
just
as
in
possible.
general. I mean, I'm used to feeling some nutrition and my wallet and my phone back there. And that's all I really really like, and I'll take an
a
extra
sensory
tube if
thing.
I have to. So
Yeah.
I think I will try to follow your lead and move mine down, just because I think the adapter piece that I had broke. I just need to find another one.
there you go.
Yep.
There you go.
Easy enough.
Cool. Well, that's some good stuff. Lance, anything else to add to that?
Yeah.
Actually, Ryan Lee chimed in on the live feed asking for a recommendation for an easy CO2 valve.
Yeah, I think Crank Brothers makes one that's pretty decent.
Crank Brothers makes a good one. The other one that I really like is made by Portland Design Works.
Oh, cool.
Oh, okay.
They make a very
Buy local.
simple, yeah. Well, they're a national company, but they just happen to be here in Portland. But they make a really simple to use CO2 that works pretty well. So
What about that? Gosh, what's the company that makes the tire lever / CO2
Park tool.
Barfly?
Barfly?
Yeah.
Have you used that one?
I have, and I actually really
you
like
like
it.
it?
I was honestly, I was bummed when I lost that. They actually
You lost it.
Well, I don't know what happened to it. It just disappeared. I don't know if it like fell out of a bag or if I misplaced it or what. But they sent that to me to try out,
Right.
and I loved it. And I probably should get another one. Maybe I should hit them up and see if I
yeah.
can get one for.
I'm looking to get
everybody.
one too because I need to get
Yeah.
some new
I,
levers and CO2.
Gave that to my brother for a Christmas present.
Sweet.
Which means I don't have it anymore. It's a pretty,
Is this,
pretty
is this
cheap gift of
the
mine.
brother who never listens to anything that you tell him?
Yes, but he's
an older brother.
He only listens.
why would he?
Right.
Matt has no idea what he's talking about.
If
so-
we say it on the podcast and discuss it amongst us, and we all agree on it, then he will succumb to the.
So I'm not
decision.
allowed to agree with Matt on anything he says now. Okay,
That's
got
true.
it.
Right.
yeah, I think that's it for changing flats for me.
There's the other thing that I know Jake has shown me to kind of get away from those pinch flats, and I kind of used to do this in the past, but Jake does it very well, is once you get the tire and tube on there, really pick up the tire as much as you can and wiggle it around so that you make sure that the tube is in there.
Yeah,
and you're not pinching on that rim. Is another good thing.
Yeah, take that 10, 15,
Yeah.
20 seconds to just do a visual loop around the tire or
Yeah.
wheel and make sure that it's not going to be
That the
sticking
tube
up.
isn't sticking out the
Exactly.
side of the.
And that's why just kind of
yeah.
that little grip the tire and pick up can
it
do
up.
that because it'll reset the tube each
Yeah.
time. Yeah.
Just to add one more thing to Lance and his little topic, here's how to. If you get some sort of like a, I don't know, like a piece of glass or something large that puts actually like a tear in your tire, it will blow out your tube. But when you go put a new tube in there, the said tube, the new tube will actually come out. It'll be like herniated coming out. So you want to get what's called a boot. And I think Park Tool makes the best one. That's just my 2 cents. And they're cheap. For a pack of like, I think it's like 3 or 5, it's just like $1 or $2 or something like that. Yeah. So basically your tire's toast. So you can either use this Park Tool thing, but the other old trick is using a dollar bill. And you fold it up and you put it in there to cover the slit or the hole in the tire to get you home. That's another thing that I recommend that folks take with them.
Yeah.
Or a wrapper from Nutrition.
Nutrition.
I've used a Huma pack before, and I also used the plastic bag that my phone was in before, like the little, like sandwich bags.
Yeah, yeah.
That works nicely too.
You can buy pieces of rubber with adhesive on the side and cut those into whatever shape you want and peel those. There's lots of options.
Or
you know.
cross your fingers and ride home.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I think I've cut a tire to kind of.
I just cut up an old tube or a not an old tube,
tube,
but
right.
or an old tire. I've cut up and put those. I just put 3 or 4 in my saddlebag so that
Yeah.
I've got boots
I-
just in case.
I duct taped a tire once.
bet
It
that
was
would work.
good for, I'm not lying, a year. I used that tire for a year. I was
a year.
I was very cheap in college.
Yeah.
Like I mean,
love your
I
stories.
rode a ridiculous amount of miles on bad roads in Ohio, and I did not have the money to buy tires, so I would just duct tape the living heck out of it. I still duct tape whenever my handle, because I really grip like the handlebars hard when I'm going hard. So I'll like rip like the grip tape off. I still duct tape fix it, and I don't. I get made fun of for that, and I don't care.
Nice.
My poor road bike gets the crap beat out of it.
That's
So,
awesome.
Yeah, I keep the TT bike nice and clean. The road bike,
Road bike.
no, it gets destroyed.
Oh, that poor bike. I'm going to turn it into Bike Protective Services.
I have abused that poor thing.
All right.
Here's another comment for you.
Oh God.
Some people are afraid of sea lions and hand pumps.
Yeah.
So we got these two afraid of
Let
hand
me-
pumps.
let me-
and
let-
you still afraid
Can
of
I-
sea lions.
Let me tell a quick story about sea lions, because I think there's a common misconception out there. Because I have a lot of friends sending me videos of seals. They send me videos of seals and they're like, look at these cute sea dogs. Let me make something very clear right here. Okay? sea lions and seals, genealogy-wise, are very different. So seals are actually taken from rodents. Okay, they come from rodents. Sea lions descend from bears. Bears.
They're the lion of the sea.
They are a bear of the sea. Like literally, if you just put a bear in the water and said swim, that's what it would become.
Oh my gosh.
Leopard sea lions are terrifying animals. A seal is a rodent. It's fine. The seal's not going to do anything to you. But a sea lion is a terrifying animal. Be very clear on that.
Yeah.
On.
Yeah, none of that's going
Moving
to work.
How to survive a sea lion attack.
That should have been one of your picks.
It's impossible.
What about you, Jake?
How to get into racing.
Oh, nice.
Oh, I like that. Yeah.
There are a lot of folks out there who listen to us who have not done a race yet. And I think that we might be like a gateway for, I like to coin these people as the race curious, to getting started into racing. So I wanted to put that out there as an ambassador for Oregon Bicycle Racing Association. And just for people in general to put something on the calendar, something new to try. How to get into racing. And for me, it's specific to bike racing. But if you guys want to chime in on the triathlon or running or swimming front, I'd love to hear that too. So,
Well, I want to tell triathletes how to get into bike racing is what I'd rather promote more triathletes going into bike racing
there's
too.
a big advantage
Honestly,
there.
yeah, absolutely.
They can
Absolutely.
use a lot of the tips and tricks that we have to offer in that particular scene. So the first, just getting started, is like, understand the fact that you're competitive and you can go out and do some other stuff with respect to bicycling or cycling that's quite a bit of fun, and it's a whole new challenge that will open up a whole different box of fun stuff to do. So without rambling on here too much, there's stuff out there for people of all ages. Doesn't matter if you're a junior, it doesn't matter if you're 60 plus years old and you love riding your bike. You can go out and race. You can find something just about anywhere. And here in the Portland area, we have a myriad of things that we can plug into with respect to bike racing. There's more bike racing than we can shake a stick at from March until December. There's racing almost every single weekend. So first and foremost, identify which discipline you want to get started with. I mean, there's time trialing, there's road racing, there's mountain biking, there's gravel riding. There's just all of these different disciplines that you can plug into. And you probably, if you have a bike, you probably have something that you can take out and race. And if you don't, go hit up your local bike shop and get something that's going to be fun, because N+1 is it's always a good thing.
Yeah.
So, or just go over to Lance's house. He's got about 14 he can loan you.
Steal one from Lance's garage. Yeah.
The next thing that I would suggest is looking up some local support systems, whether it be a bike shop, finding out who the local teams are, who the local clubs are, finding out via social media what's going on in the cycling world. I mean, it's very easy to use this little machine called Google to find different things in the area that you're at. Look up the different organizations. For us here, it's Oregon Bicycle Racing Association, or there's USA Cycling. That's a different way. There's also USA Triathlon, correct? And that's where you can find a lot of good racing.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. That's an option.
They have a little race search engine right there.
Yeah. And then, when you go out and you're on rides, typically you can tell the racer, they're going to have usually a different style of a kit on. They're going to be kind of looking like they're a little bit faster. And all cyclists out there, if you're a racer guy, be nice. When these people come up to you, talk to them, inform them, because we're trying to grow our community, not being those elitist a-holes that we all have talked about we don't like in our system.
And a whole podcast on those people.
Never be too pro to wave or say hi, and help out, pass it forward. So, talk to those people. And then once you kind of start to get a feel for all this, start to be more engaged with those people. And a great thing that happens from that is you're going to gain some fitness. And gaining fitness with respect to whatever sport it is that you're doing is always a good thing, because there's so many positive benefits that spin off of that. You're gonna have a better overall disposition. You're gonna be happier. Your endorphins are gonna be released. You're gonna be more fit. You're gonna be enjoying something that's gonna be taking you out to do fun stuff all the time. So there's a ton of good things that are gonna come out of that.
I got a text message, Jake, from a follower of the podcast.
Yeah.
He's a triathlete, actually.
He's one of those guys.
Yeah, his name's Ty Engstrom. He's actually a good friend.
Oh, yeah. Actually, we
awesome.
traded some emails over the weekend. Yeah.
Okay, good. So Ty, He's a Portland police officer.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a really great guy, and he did some races with my younger brother,
nice.
actually. So that's how we connected. But he had sent me a text message saying, the podcast has convinced me that bike racing could help our triathlons.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So
Ding, ding, ding,
yeah,
ding.
so he was all excited. He wanted to try some races, and he was asking, what's a novice? Where should my kids compete? Where should we start? It was all these questions about
Sure.
how to get started, so he could
Yeah.
do some stuff. So
Oh, awesome. So going back to the whole fitness thing, one of the other cool things that's going to happen is while you're going out and doing this, you can start picking people's brains. They'll start giving you some insight and things that they've done and where they started, and they can point you to the right organizations and teams and whatnot, so that you're not just saying, hey, I like bikes. I ride like once in a blue moon. I think I want to go race a bike. If you do that, you're going to have a very poor experience.
Maybe. I mean, I think
more times than not, you're going to have a.
I think we could get some females into the sport that maybe bike occasionally. They
Yeah.
could probably still hold their own in a race,
Sure.
and then potentially get more into
It depends on
more
like what
involved.
your athletic background is. going into
Maybe
it.
I should have prefaced the fact that if you're uber competitive and you're
Yeah.
not fit, and you go out and you try and hang with some people that are actively training.
Give
even if
yourself
they're
some group rides
in
first
the
before you
novice
jump in a
Cap
race.
5. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just go out and get yourself acclimated to the biking scene. And while that happens, you're going to get yourself a little bit more fit. And then you can jump into that race. And then you're going to have a better chance of holding your own so that you can, really see those competitive juices all the way through.
Like I could see your wife being like hop in a race and do pretty well. Like,
Probably.
she's pretty. I mean, she doesn't bike a ton.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know. Maybe she is now, but like, I in the past I don't think she's biked a ton, but I think she could hold her own.
Yeah.
In a lot of races.
Yeah. She's taken like a fish to water. I mean, no pun intended. She's out doing her stuff all the time. We've got a little visitor here. Sorry.
put the cat out.
Yeah. But so another way that I really think that people with technology in this day and age that are curious, that race curious, go a Zwift race.
Yeah, that's perfect.
You can just
That's a good recommendation.
You're going to be in a non-threatening environment. You're in the comforts and safety of your own home, and you can dip your toe in that water and see how you stack up to know like, oh wow, that's what racing's like. Now,
Yeah.
don't expect to go and hang with an A group right away, because that's probably not going to happen. But with when you're in the lower groups, those people are generally not the cheating type either too. They're not the ones that are out there weight doping. Those we won't talk about
Those
the A's.
elites,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. Anyway, you're going to go out there and you're going to get a good feel for the pace of a race, and you're going to get a good feel for how strong some of these people are and how you stack up. Don't let that discourage you, though. I mean, just use it as a good fitness tool, but it'll kind of let you dip your toe in the water without having to actually formally go out and do a race right away. So those were some of my tips, but I was almost more curious to think, like, what is it that brought you guys into racing? I mean, at some point in time you started racing, and let's not talk about stuff that you've been doing your whole life, Matt Legrand, running. Let's talk about something that was new to you. That's some, like triathlon was something that was relatively new to you in the last like decade or so.
Yep,
So
absolutely.
what are
Yeah.
some things that you guys can throw out there for tips for folks?
So with regards to triathlon, I just the backstory was grew up running, was pretty comfortable running, and then I had a doctor that was just like, you should take a break, and I was like, I've heard this so many times, but I was like, all right, let's give 3 months off a chance or whatever, and I was not willing to take one day off, which meant I had to go buy a bike and find a pool to swim in
That night.
literally that day. Yeah, I mean, it was like, tomorrow I'm not running, I'm buying a bike. And I bought a bike on Craigslist that was too big for me, but I was like, the guy was like, you don't have pedals for this, don't you want to try this bike out? And I was like, I'm taking it home. Like, it was just like, I'm buying this bike. Maybe not the smartest purchase, but still, so I had a really nice group from the fitness club that I also joined like that day, and they were all kind of into triathlon stuff, and I knew I was triathlon curious, and so I struggled with the swim and the bike or whatever it was, but I kind of knew like, I will struggle through this and I will do a sprint and see how that goes. And it was horrible, right? Like, you're used to doing very well competitively, in a different sport or whatever it is. To get your butt kicked is, it's an awakening experience for sure. But then you have all this room to improve. Like, it's, if you're new to this stuff, whether again, like Jake's example is more bike oriented. If you're new to this stuff, like, enjoy getting your butt kicked, because you have so much room to improve. And then you get towards the front end of the triathlon stuff, and all those improvements are like so minute. It's like
a whole year
you
for
fight
30
for a
seconds.
year. Yeah, and it's so that's tough. But for me now, it's like, oh, if I go over to cycling, like that's going to be the new thing. Well, I mean, not that I'm going to become like a cyclocross racer. You guys know, if you've listened to this podcast before, that's not going to happen. But I mean, even like road racing, right? Like there's tons of room for me to be that, brand new person that can come into that and have big improvements. Lots to learn for me.
Absolutely.
And it's a little less scary because, I've had my toe in the water with triathlon. I understand bikes. I can, change a flat in under an hour. And, and so I'm a little, I am a little bit familiar with bikes and things like that. So I'm okay with, hopping on the, bike circuit, and I have a really nice team potentially to work with. So hopefully, I mean, it's going to be very hard for me to work with Lance, but other than that, I have a very nice team.
Yeah. Did anybody ever lay out a how-to for you, Evan, to get to where you? I mean, you've ascended to the highest level in your particular
The
sport.
lowest of the highest levels.
Well, you're there though.
Yeah.
That's something I'll never be able to say. I'll never be able to call myself a professional cyclist, or laughingly triathlete. So
I think so like I actually don't think I've ever told like the story like when I actually started triathlon here, because it's actually funny, and I tell it to like, I used to coach a decent amount of beginner triathletes, and I always told them, I'm like, there's like very few people go into this sport or cycling like smoothly. You'll get a couple of those like kids who happen to come from swimming and running. They get in triathlon and give them a year and they're fast.
Yeah.
But most of the people getting into cycling, getting into triathlon, everybody goes through that really awkward growing phase where it's like you have no idea what you're doing in the sport. I raced my first triathlon in a set of bib shorts.
Yeah.
Like I literally jumped in the pool in bib shorts.
yeah, I remember you mentioning that. Yeah.
And then put on my cycling top when I got into transition and rode a road bike. So like it's like clearly I did not know what I was doing.
No top over the bib straps?
Well, I mean, yeah, I just swam in bib shorts. So,
I wish I had a photo of that. Do you have any old photos? of
I
that
actually
with
think I
parents?
do. I'm trying to remember. I'm sure my mom or dad listening to this will have. I can't remember if I was in non-bib shorts. I was in cycling shorts, I know.
Yeah.
I can't remember if they were bib or not, but I know when I got into transition, I put on the cycling top. But it's, so for me, it was my mom had been an ultramarathon runner for her whole life, done a ton of marathons. And when she was young, had done triathlons, and then had gotten back into triathlons about a year or two before I did. So for me, I grew up playing soccer, basketball, all the sports. I always ran. So I told Matt recently, I used to train with the guys who ran on our high school track team. So I did all their training. I just, at that time, thought I was a good enough soccer player, and clearly found out once I got to college that I am not a good enough soccer player. But I was competitive enough, like everybody at this table, where I really wanted to be good at something. So I thought, okay, I've always been a good runner. So when I was 18, I got a bike, and I was like, okay, we're going to try this. I always had the plan to do triathlon because I had seen my mom doing it. Mm-hmm. And I started cycling and immediately thought, I just want to road race, because I had just been around enough people who were in the cycling world that I was like, I'd rather do both at the same time. So I started them actually simultaneously.
Did you watch cycling before you bought a road bike? Were you like into the tour and stuff
So
like that?
yeah,
that makes a difference.
I think I've told the stories in there. I grew up watching the tour.
Yeah,
so
he was
like,
sitting on the couch drinking his bottle, watching the tour.
Yeah. I mean, like my dad literally would set me in a chair and be on the trainer. So like we were watching the early tours. So I had been around cycling for basically my whole life. But for me, it was, even at the age of, I know to you guys that sounds young, being road racing 18, 18, 19, but that today is not an early start. Like kids these days are starting earlier in America. They've always abroad been starting earlier, but I feel like in America there's this earlier start being promoted, which I like because, when you're 18, 19, I was aggressive, competitive, and completely inept on a bike and had no idea what I was doing. So I was racing and had that aerobic capacity and was strong, but I was doing dumb stuff all the time. So like I would be in a Cat 5 race, the gun would go off, and I would break away right away, assuming I am going to hold this the entire race and then get caught and lose a sprint every single time. So I think even if you are athletic, competitive, getting into the sport, like respect the strategy and watch cycling racing. Like it's not actually boring once you start to understand the sport. Once you start to understand the sport, cycling races are a blast to watch. Yeah. Now, if you're watching like, stage 4 of the Tour de France, it's going to be boring. They're primed up for a sprint. Yeah. But just understanding the sport from a visual point. So that'll be the point that I make with this is really, if you're going to get into road cycling, talk to cyclists who have raced and watch professional cycling because it's fun.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
How about you, Lance?
My evolution into bicycle racing was just by default. I think I've probably talked about this before. I was a competitive track athlete in high school and college, and my body broke down, and so I turned to triathlon, and then my body broke down again, and I realized I can't run like this anymore. So I ended up going just to cycling, and it was after a few years of cycling that I'm like, I need competition.
Yep.
And that's what spurred. But that's me. That's my type A must kill all people around me personality.
Must win weight loss competition at all costs.
Everything, never lose anything. So that's what kind of pushed me, and I realized, I might be able to be competitive.
I think Matt might be the same thing. I think he just got up to go purge in the bathroom real quick.
I think so. Yeah.
But
Lance is like the LeVar Ball of the endurance sports world.
There you go. Did you guys ever have a mentor? Because that's going to be my last tip: is find a good mentor or a couple mentors and be a good mentee. Yeah. So
I actually had It's interesting. Matt had mentioned be around a good team.
Yeah.
The first cycling team I joined, those are still some of my favorite people.
Sure.
Like Jasalo Cycling in Dayton, Ohio. Awesome team of people. Small, like decently small team, but competitive. Like a lot. Everybody raced on the team. And it's funny because one of the first guys I met on the team and became good friends with actually ended up being my neuro PT professor at the University of Dayton. Dr. Jackson, who is an incredible PT. But at that time, I did not know that he was a PT. And then ended up going to that school and hanging out with him each day, and we just talked bikes all the time. But he had raced for a few years before that and was a very good cyclist. So having those people around you, I think, is crucial, especially if you're a young guy or gal listening to this. Like, make sure that you get around people like Lance, Jake, or people who have been around racing for a little bit, because there's so much that you don't know. And I know when you're 18, 19, you think, well, no, I can figure this out. No, you can't. You can't figure it out. You got to have somebody helping you.
Yeah. Good. All right. I think that's about a wrap for the how-to segment. So let's jump into one last thing. Lance, one last thing is.
I think it would be great if we had everybody went and subscribed to the Dialed Podcast YouTube channel. Mm-hmm. We get them to subscribe to the YouTube channel. You'll have an opportunity to watch this live. You'll also know when we upload it to YouTube, and you can watch the actual recording. Are we planning on doing that?
Yeah, it'll be automatic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. So, you could listen to it another way. So I think finding Dialed Podcast on YouTube and hitting that subscribe button would be beneficial to you.
I believe so, yes.
I'm going to go next with my one last thing because Lance just stole my thunder. So I'll just add one more little piece to that. After you're done subscribing to the Dialed Podcast channel, we also have a channel that's going to start having quite a bit of content on it, and that's going to just be the Dialed Cycling channel, and there will be some integrations between the two, but we hope that we can provide you guys with some cool stuff, whether it be team related, whether it be like some reviews or some talking about some products or just cool things that we've got going on. I'm going to be working with Matt on making some neat videos for that, and we'll have lots of cool stuff to share with you guys. So
I'll send you all my crappy YouTube cycling videos. You can throw them on there.
Yeah, your stuff is great. Well, I mean, I saw your video of the gravel ride that
I
you
had
did.
a little 30-second clip of the gravel ride.
But still, I mean, that engaged me. I was like, I want to be on that thing. I want to go. I want to be on that road right there. I don't want to be with Lance. I want to be about 50 meters behind, so I can go at my own pace. But that road looks awesome.
Yeah.
So there was a slight integration here with this podcast. Just talking about some of the how-tos, like we went around the table and showed you 4. There'll be individual videos on stuff like this that will run through stuff, and it won't be an hour and a half long podcast on how to do said thing, but a good little 4 to 7 minute little bit, and Matt will help us produce something on that, and hopefully, and it will be fun. So check those out.
Fun.
Evan, one last thing.
Professional cycling stuff that just came up on my thing. Froome's going to the Tour. Big news. Not that big, but still, I'm glad that he's going back to the Tour.
Yeah, me too.
Tour only?
So he just said he's going back to the Tour. I wonder if he's only going to focus on the Tour now, because he just phrased as that. He said, I'm going back to the Tour.
Okay.
So I wonder if that's going to be the focus of his year. Quintana will be there too. This is going to be one of his last shots. Quintana has flatlined at the Tour. He's flatlined and descended. He's got
Unless
maybe 2 more years of
when
quality there.
He's still
Sky
young,
breaks
though.
up next year, if they don't put something together
This
with a
is true.
sponsor, I mean,
You never
could-
know. Movie Star could be that
Yeah.
juggernaut
yeah.
then on the climbs if Sky breaks apart entirely.
Yeah.
And last, rumor that Vincenzo Nibali,
Yeah.
the man from Italy who I love, may be going to Trek, which would be awesome
Huh.
to see my favorite Italian cyclist going to an American team.
Nice.
Would be really, really cool.
Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Matt, one last thing.
Yeah, so we mentioned like subscribe, check out our live channel. I would say that if you take those extra steps, that you could potentially be in our chat as we actually do our podcast live, and it's pretty cool to see chat in the chat room, if you will, and just be able to like either provide like witty commentary, because clearly you guys, the listeners, are significantly more witty than the group of 4 here, as well as like correcting us, because
it's constant corrections.
Yeah,
we need that all the time.
Yeah, we make tons of mistakes all the time. I remember, I think last podcast I was like, what's the tire lever that I couldn't remember what the name was. It was
Yeah.
like the orange Pedro's tire lever. They're nice and thick.
Gotcha.
That's just, yeah. But anyway, that could have easily snapped up from the commentary, right? Like someone could have chimed in on the comments and be like, no, that's the Pedro's tire lever. And then we can, sound smarter when we read the, chat and remember stuff like which tire lever it was that we're referring to.
We
but
actually
yeah.
had about 30 comments on the live chat as we
I know.
went along.
This
So-
one, here's my favorite, is like, a bear can't balance a ball or play a horn on its neck. Like, they're talking about like
stupid
so many.
Actually, I'm pretty
so
sure
many-
they can. Aren't there like circus bears?
Oh no.
No, circus bears.
No, the
There's
comment,
circus.
our commentary is correct. Okay, don't question it. Don't question the people in the comments.
We are gonna argue over sea lions for the next year. I swear.
So that's my one last thing. Thank you guys.
Nice. As always, you can find us on Facebook at Dial Podcast, on Instagram at Dial Podcast. We need to post some stuff there. Lance,
Instagram.
you need to help us out with that.
All right.
King of Instagram,
Yeah.
who said he needs less social media. We're going to give you more social media because
Of all of our Instagrams, yours by far the best. I have one. I don't even know how to upload pictures onto mine yet. So.
Actually, didn't I? You guys have access to that. You, Lance, and Matt.
Do we?
I think so.
I don't know if we do.
I'll have to re-up on that because
I have access to the Facebook page. I don't know about the Instagram
Okay,
page.
I'll help you guys with that. The Instagram because
I
I
now
just
have an Instagram, so I can actually have access to it.
I can take pictures of me riding on Zwift and just post them up, and
I can do
maybe
the
that
same,
will
man.
bore you guys enough to actually help me out. But yeah, that'd be fun to have. Some
Lance
fun.
never bikes anywhere, so
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, thanks for listening. Thanks for chiming in. Really appreciate seeing all the people watching. That was awesome. And you guys, as always, thank you for getting here right on time.
thanks for being on time. Nailed it.
Did not happen.
Nailed it. All right. Till next week, you guys. Thank you again. We'll see you on the flip side. Bye for now.
Nice.
Awesome. That was funny.